I was listening to the story about, it was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the Cowboy Man. And he had, apparently it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
Father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses. It would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse, trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hindquarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the dirty. Skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Paranormal Odyssey. I want to jump on here today and record another short story for you guys. It's been a little bit since I have released one. Been busy over the last week or so. Went out of town for a little while, but I am back, getting ready to start doing some more recordings, and I wanted to start doing some more of these as well. All right, before we get started, I want to ask everybody, please hit that subscribe button. If you have not done so already, I would greatly appreciate it. If you've had an encounter and would like to come on an episode of Paranormal Odyssey, I'd love to talk to you about that. Shoot me an email to wayne@paranormalworldproductions.com. That is the first step in getting on here and sharing your encounter. Or your experiences, just whatever. If you're a researcher or investigator or paranormal investigator, just you want to come on and talk about it, this is your first step. Shoot me an email. Excuse me, guys. All right, I think I'm just going to go ahead and jump in today. Today I'm going to be talking about Hora. I got this little article from puzzleboxhorror.com. Don't want to give those guys credit. Mexico has enough folklore and urban legends to make H.P. Lovecraft cancel his flight, though none are as menacing and confrontational as the dreaded La Mala Hora. La Mala Hora relates to the Devil's Hour, which is also called the Witching Hour, a time many know as 3 a.m., and a time at which one may wake suddenly for no perceptible reason, with an acute sense of dread wallowing in their stomach. This uncanny hour has been associated with practice of witchcraft. Imbued with great satanic significance, and even held accountable for the true story of the Amityville Horror, though residents of Mexico know it as something rather more tangible and far more horrifying. In 1910, the phenomenon was described by Aurelio Espinosa as a malicious entity that stalked crossroads around Mexico at night. It would hunt, torment, and even kill anyone brave enough to ignore the tales and travel home alone at such an hour. If these individuals were unfortunate enough to come across the dreaded La Mala Hora and gaze headlong into it, they would be driven hideously and irreversibly insane. Sounds like Mexico has been reading a little of Lovecraft's work after all. And because of this, This particular spirit is said to be more feared than the devil himself. Most of Mexico flat out refuses to talk about it, changing the subject or simply referring to it as an evil thing. La Mala Hora takes great pleasure in driving its victims mad. Not only this, but it will often attack helpless travelers, paralyzing them in their tracks and brutalizing their weakened forms. After being suffocated by the fiend, their bodies are left at the side of the road. In Chiapas, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, I'm sure I am. In Chiapas, the the southernmost state of Mexico, the insidious entity is told to take the form of a beautiful woman, sometimes dressed in white, sometimes in black. The incarnation and its diversely gruesome behaviors come across like some demented video game enemy gone rogue. When dressed in white, La Malahora is said to be gentler and more graceful. The hypno the hypnotist wary she hypnotizes weary travelers who, if they don't notice the space between her feet and the ground, or the fact that her toes are backwards, or the fact that their lanterns have stopped working and all sense of direction seems lost, will follow her obediently into wherever peril she chooses. Perhaps this will be off the edge of a ravine, or perhaps in front of the next passing car. When dressed in black, La Malahora is more aggressive. She will stop a traveler by any means and attack directly with her pointed nails. The strong willed should hope to meet her on a white night, while no one should hope to see her in black. One particular story has been circulating the internet for quite some time, earning La Malahora its creepy pasta certification along the way. In this story, a woman goes to stay with her friend who is experiencing marital troubles. On the way, she almost hits a woman in the road who, when the car stops, begins scratching fiercely at the windows in an attempt to get in. After driving away as quickly as possible, our protagonist reaches her friend, who tells her frantically that she has seen La Malahora, the spirit who only appears when death is close. The woman then calls her husband, who she finds has been mugged and shot to death in another area. New Mexico legend. On the southern border of the United States in the state of New Mexico, La Malahora seems to appear much closer to Espinosa's original description. Usually, it's seen as a black abstract form, like a fleece or a wool, which expands and contracts, changing size and shape and seemingly floating along the roadside. A widely feared omen, this incarnation is only told to be seen when death is soon to befall a loved one. I would imagine a lot of concerned yet apologetic phone calls taking place around 3 a.m. in Mexico. One thing is for sure, if I lived near any of the places that La Mala Hora is said to appear, I would doubtedly ever go out after midnight. All right, there you go, guys. Another urban legend that is just full of creepy as hell. All right, guys, as always, if you have anything to add to that, let me know. Shoot me an email, Wayne at paranormalworldproductions.com. And just want to remind everybody, it's not my goal to give you all of the information that's out there on these topics, on these subjects. The goal is just to, like me, open your eyes to something that you weren't familiar with. That's another one that I wasn't familiar with, and I'm enjoying looking up these things. And there's been a couple of things I've looked at that I've delved a little bit deeper into because I'm interested in. Hope that you guys are doing the same. It's my goal here at Paranormal Odyssey to not only talk about the normal stuff like Bigfoot and ghosts and Dogman, all that stuff, but to kind of open everyone's eyes to the more lesser known entities that are out there. So I hope that's what I'm doing with some of these. All right, guys. Appreciate you stopping by to check this one out. I will be going live this Friday. It's actually tonight. I don't know when I'll be releasing this one, but it is currently Friday morning. So this on this episode tonight, I have Mr. Elijah Henderson coming back on. Elijah and his late dad Johnny were one of my very first guests that I ever interviewed back, episode 2 or 3 of the show. It was a long time ago, back 3 or 4 years ago. And one thing that I remember about Johnny is as much experience as he and Elijah had in this field, and Elijah being quite a bit younger than me, but as much experience as they had in this field, they were very, very gracious. Especially Johnny, he didn't treat me like a newbie at all. He was very respectful and gracious, and that's one thing that I respected about him. And I told Elijah that, and I'll be passing that on again on the live interview. But yeah, look forward to that one again. Paranormal Odyssey live every Friday night at 7:30 Eastern, right here on YouTube. All right, guys, another one about 12 minutes in and out. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for my birthday was earlier this week. Got a ton of birthday wishes through the social media platform, mainly Facebook. I want to thank everyone. I thanked everyone on Facebook, but I wanted to thank you guys on here too. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Y'all be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. See you next time.